Hey guys, welcome to Big Loz Official. Today we're going to focus on the Arnold Classic, which is happening on the 1st and 2nd of March in Ohio in the States. One of the biggest strongman shows of the calendar. The guys have kind of been posting some awesome videos recently, huge log lifts, huge deadlifts. So we're just going to go through the athletes that compete in the events, and as always I'll give you a prediction of who I think will place in the top 3. So, quick rundown of the athletes. Last year's champion, Thor Bjornsen, looking really strong in training as always. Last year he had a amazing year, won everything, won the Arnolds, went on to win Europe's, went on to win Worlds, and won the big show in Dubai last year as well. Towards the end of the year, he just kind of totally dominated. His biggest kind of rival, Brian Shaw, I guess, just didn't quite look his best last year. Had a few little niggles. He obviously had a child as well, and these kind of things definitely affect performances. And from what I've seen of Brian in his training recently, he's looking very good. So I'm hoping it's going to be a bit more of a battle this year. We'll go through some of the other athletes. Rauno Heinle, really strong Estonian, awesome deadlifter. Alexei Novikov, apologise if I said that wrong. I've never heard of this dude. Obviously very strong. He won the Arnold Amateur last year. So it'd be interesting to see what he could do. I remember when Killian Koski won the amateurs, he came and surprised everyone, placing 3rd. So, some of these amateur guys are unbelievable, especially in the Ukraine and Russia. They just come out of nowhere. They've got some crazy strong guys over there. One of my favourite strongmen, Mikhail Sholokhov, amazing performance last year to place 3rd. He had a couple of really good events in last year's events. With the bag throw, he's very good at. The kind of infamous deadlift picture of him kind of pulling that deadlift with the nose bursting open. He's one guy, he will just put himself through the mill. It doesn't matter what happens to him, he'll finish the show. JF Conan, another amazing deadlifter. I've heard that he's tweaked his hamstring. I hope that's not true, because that's one guy that could pull a huge number on the elephant bar deadlift. So fingers crossed his hamstring's okay. And then Brian Shaw, I think he's won the Arnold 3 times. Apologies again if I'm wrong there to Brian, but he's 4 times world's strongest man, 3 times Arnold winner, one of the greatest strongmen of all time, and looking strong. I saw his recent deadlift video and his recent log lift video. Very good. I think if he's kind of learnt and to specialise with the stone a bit more this year, he could really do well on that. And the interesting event I'm going to talk about in a bit is the Conan Wheel of Pain, which it just looks amazing. If you've seen the pictures online, it's kind of going real old school. Not even talking to strongman, but the kind of Conan circle from the films, where you've got to kind of like push this huge contraption around. It's going to be extremely heavy, very difficult to train for, very difficult to really predict who's going to place where on that event. I think personally it'll suit the really big guys. So Thor and Brian are obviously the 2 biggest guys. I think having that size and height could be an advantage on that event. And then the one and only Martin Lissis, he's just kind of flown up the rankings the last few years. Unbelievably strong guy, hard working, thinks about everything. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up on the podium. He's looking very strong, and he's smart. He'll have been training the events. He's always dangerous. Looked a bit tired towards the end of last year, but he had a long season, did a lot of competitions. But other than maybe the last show of the year, he was unbelievable, and I expect big things from him. Another guy that I'd expect big things from is Matthias Koski. These two, him and Lissis are the 2 guys right now. You've got Thor and Brian that are kind of the champions, but those 2 guys are the 2 to kind of look out for. If anyone's going to challenge those 2, it's going to be Matthias and Lissis. They're both up there, and they just seem to get better and better every year. The only weakness for Killian Skorsky, obviously we know his deadlift is a problem, and it depends where he places on that. He could win 4 events and not win the competition if he places too low on the deadlift. So if he can have a good performance, get some points, he's going to be in with a chance. But I think it's going to be all about the deadlift for him. And then we have Belsac coming back from his bicep tear. Be great to see him back. Another awesome strongman, another young strongman that just gives everything. I think the Arnold's is a bit too heavy for him, if I'm totally honest, to really challenge the top guys. He doesn't. He's really good at some of the dynamic events. He's good at dumbbell. There's no dumbbell this year. He's good at a normal kind of Conan circle when you pick it up and carry it around. But I think this one is going to be more about just brute strength, brute size, and I'm not sure he's going to be big enough to really challenge the top guys with these type of events. And then we've got Jerry Pritchett. Jerry, I'd love to see him pull a huge deadlift. That's what he focuses on these days. You know, his deadlift is unbelievable, and I'm sure he believes he can be breaking world records. So, you know, him, Thor, and I think Brian, and obviously if JF Caron is fit and healthy, those are the 4 guys to look out for in the deadlift. That's the first event as well, the Rogue Elephant Bar deadlift. It starts at 340 kilos. All the guys will smoke past that, and they'll get up to, you know, I think last year we were around 370, something like that for the world record. Sorry, 470 kilos. Hafthor's just posted a video recently doing a PB in the gym. Over 470. Brian Shaw just posted a huge deadlift on more of a standard setup around the 460 mark. It's going to be exciting. Everyone loves a big deadlift event, and I think I'll probably put my money on Thor to win the deadlift. He just deadlift seems to get stronger and stronger. I think I remember a few years ago when Eddie broke the 500. Thor's response is like, "How do I do 500?" And he just goes away and learns how to get better at everything. Every weakness he's ever had, he's turned into a strength, and he gets better and better. I think he'll be hard to beat on that event. Second event, very different for the Arnolds, is the Husafell stone carry. So it's, how heavy is it? 186 kilos. So quite a standard kind of old-fashioned Husafell stone, real kind of Icelandic event. Again, Thor is very, very good. He's just got those long arms that he can wrap around the stone. He's big, huge body. He's always done well at those type of events. Brian Shaw's the same. He's got, you know, he's big, he's fit, and I think Killian Koski, he's just for a guy his size, for a guy that's not an amazing deadlifter. He has very long arms. His wingspan is extremely long, and he can wrap around stones. And you know, I think those 3 will probably be the top 3 to look out for on that event. And then we've got the Wheel of Pain, the Conan's Wheel of Pain. This is just, like I said, it's hard to pick. I really don't know what anyone will do. I'm going to kind of, you know, throw it out there, and I think the 2 biggest guys will be the best on it, which is Hafthor and Brian. They outweigh everyone by a fair bit. They're both much taller than everyone. So I can't really see anyone challenging those 2 guys. Hard to pick. Really hard to pick. They're both great truck pullers. They're both big. They're both strong. They're both fit. I think one of those guys will take the win on that one. But I'm looking forward to watching it. And, you know, I might be surprised if someone's been able to train on it. It's one of those events, I think, they'll be a bit kind of cautious this year, and then everyone will kind of figure out how to do it, and it'll get better and better if they do it again the following year. Then we move on to the Austrian Oak, which is a 195 kilo or 430 pound wooden log for reps. It's a heavy log for reps. They have done heavier at the Arnold's, but I think sometimes they go a bit too crazy. 195, you still, you know, 4th event, they're going to be beat up and tired. So even if you've seen people getting a certain amount of reps in training with this, don't expect, you know, huge amounts of reps. I think Brian's looking good. He did a 3 rep with 190 the other day. You know, Thor's a good log lifter. Killian Koski, another good log lifter. Who else is in there? I think those 3 guys really are the best log lifters in the show. And also they've got the size that copes with these big heavy events. And that's something kind of, it is a factor. Having a big body weight, you tend to get smaller guys that are good on certain things, but then their body, they can drain their energy quite quickly. And then as the competition goes on, they lose that power. Whereas Brian and Thor, they're just so durable. They can take a beating and just, they keep going. They're just like big, huge, powerful trucks. And the last event, which Killian Skorsky just dominated last year, was the odd Halligan stone to shoulder. So it's 186 kilos. It's a very awkward shape. They have to lift it from the floor up to the shoulder. Last year, everyone struggled with this except for Killian Skorsky. He just kind of had a knack for it, figured it out, and was very, very good. I think he'll be exactly the same this year, maybe even more confident, maybe get an extra rep. But I do feel some of the other guys will challenge him a bit more this year. I think Lissis, who wasn't competing last year, he will have trained on this. He trains in the same gym as old Halligan. That guy will have prepared on this well. He's an amazing stone lifter anyway, and I think he'll have adapted his training to make sure he challenges on this event. And I think Brian and Thor will have put the work in and learnt from last year to really get a few extra reps. So it's going to be a tough one. It's the finisher. Last event, you're always battered. They'll be on the main stage, wanting to, it'll be about coming down for the win. And I think it's going to be exciting. This year, I really think Brian and Thor will be fighting for first and second, and then I think Lissis and Killian Koski fighting for third and fourth. Very hard to predict the rest of the show. They're all great athletes. Competed with most of them, many times. And I think my top four is kind of like a fair prediction, but at the Arnold's anything can happen. Injuries, surprise performances. The events that are a bit more unknown can throw in kind of spanners in the works. So it's going to be fun. I'm going to kind of be staying up and looking up for the results. Let me know who you guys think will win, and how you think people will do on each event. If you're excited about any of the events, I mean, it's quite nice. I think that Rogue are kind of putting a different event into the show. It's making it a bit more interesting. The Arnold's kind of been a bit samey for the last few years, so good to see a different event thrown in there. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens, and I hope you guys will enjoy it and tune in. We've almost hit 5,000 subscribers, so thank you so much for everyone that's kind of subscribed to the channel, liked the channel, and commented. It means a lot to us. If you could please kind of just keep sharing, keep kind of letting people know what we're doing, and we'll get more and more people coming to tune in. We're gonna once we go over 5,000, we're gonna do a little competition. So look out for that video soon, and have a great weekend. I'll speak to you guys next week.